Blessings to you all. Thank you so much for tuning in to Black Victors. Today's exhortation comes from the book of Daniel chapter 2 verse 1 to 49. And the topic is elevation through interpretation. So Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had a dream. His mind was troubled and he couldn't sleep because he didn't understand the dream. So the following day, he summoned the magicians, the enchanters, the sorcerers, and astrologers to interpret his dream. And he told them that he would put them to death should they not be able to interpret his dream. On the other hand, he also promised to give them gifts and give them reward, as well as treating them with great honor should they interpret his dream. So they replied, "Let the king tell his servants the dream." Then King Nebuchadnezzar revealed the dream to them, but the astrologers replied and answered. They said, "There is no one among us who could interpret the dream. No king, great and might, has ever asked such a thing to a magician, an enchanter, or an astrologer. What the king is asking is too difficult. No one can reveal it to the king except the gods, and he does not dwell among us." The king became angry and frustrated, and he ordered the execution of all the wise men of Babylon. Therefore, a decree was ordered to put all the wise men of Babylon to death. So the Babylonians went around the province, throughout the whole province of Babylon, to search for Daniel and his friends to do the execution. Daniel and his friends were among the captives who were captivated from Judah to Babylon to work as eunuchs in the kingdom of King Nebuchadnezzar. So one of the commanders, Arioch, went out and he was searching for Daniel. And Daniel saw him. He spoke to him with wisdom and knowledge, and he asked him as to why the king had put out such a harsh decree. And the commander told Daniel what had happened in the king's dream, but that it was a mystery that he had to be solved. But the enchanters couldn't interpret it for him. Therefore, Daniel requested that King Nebuchadnezzar give him time to interpret his dream. So the king agreed with Daniel's request and waited. After that, Daniel told his friends, Hananiah, Michael, and Uzziah, who were also captives from Judah, to pray for the mercy of God, so they don't end up being executed with the rest of the wise men of Babylon. During the night, Daniel was sleeping, and the mystery was revealed to him in his vision. Then Daniel praised the God of heaven. He said, "Praise be to the name of God, for he lives forever and ever. Wisdom and power belongs to him. He changes times and seasons. He sets kings and deposits them. He gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to the discerning. He reveals deep and hidden things. He knows what lies in darkness, and light dwells with him. I thank and praise you, O God of my fathers. You have given me wisdom and power, and you have made known to me what we have asked of you. You have made known to me the dream of the king." Then Daniel told Arioch, the commander of the king's guards, to not execute all the wise men of Babylon, and to take him to the king because he had the interpretation to his dream. So Arioch took Daniel to the king and told him that one of the exiles from Judah was able to give him the interpretation to his dream. King Nebuchadnezzar asked Daniel, "Are you able to tell me what I saw in my dream and interpret it?" Daniel replied, "No wise man, enchanter, magician, or diviner can explain to the king the mystery he has asked about. But there is a God in heaven who reveals mysteries. God has shown King Nebuchadnezzar what will happen in the days to come. Here's the interpretation to your dream, king. This mystery has been revealed to me not because I have a great knowledge than other living men, but so that you, O king, may know the interpretation, and that you may understand what went through your mind. Here's the interpretation of your dream, king. You, O king, are the King of kings. The God of heaven has given you dominion and power and might and glory. In your hand he has placed mankind and the beasts of the field and the birds of the air. Wherever they live, he has made you ruler over them all. You are the head of the gold. After you, another kingdom will rise, inferior to yours. Next, a third kingdom, one of bronze, will rule over the whole earth. Finally, a fourth kingdom, strong as iron, for iron breaks and smashes things, and iron breaks things to pieces, so it will crush and break all the others. There will be a divided kingdom, yet it will have some of the strength of iron in it. Just as you saw in the dream, people won't be united. In the time of these kings, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom that will never be destroyed, nor will it ever be left to another people. It will crush all these kingdoms and bring them to an end, but it will itself endure forever. The great God has shown the king what will take place in the future. And King Nebuchadnezzar said, the dream is true and the interpretation is trustworthy. Then King Nebuchadnezzar fell prostrated before Daniel and paid him honor and ordered that Daniel be offered offerings of incense and a great honor. Then the king said to Daniel, surely your God is the God of gods and the Lord of kings and a revealer of mysteries, for you were able to reveal this mystery to me. Then the king placed Daniel in a very high position and lavished him with gifts and so many rewards. He made Daniel ruler over the entire province of Babylon and placed him in charge of all its wise men. Moreover, Daniel requested that the king appoint Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego as administrators over the province of Babylon, while Daniel himself remained at the royal court. Elevation through interpretation is such an important topic because one person can go from the bottom to the top because God prepares things ahead of time. Daniel went from being a captive to rulership. Daniel was captivated from Judah to Babylon to serve King Nebuchadnezzar. Daniel was a eunuch in the palace, but his faith was recognized. The faith that he had in God was recognized in Babylon. Daniel's presence was acknowledged because he honored the God who's the revealer, the great God. Daniel introduced the God the Most High, to King Nebuchadnezzar, who was a heathen. King Nebuchadnezzar worshipped idols, but Daniel brought the real God in his house in the palace. King Nebuchadnezzar abducted Daniel to be his servant in the palace in Babylon, but little did he know that God would raise Daniel up, and God would place Daniel in a very higher position in Babylon. King Nebuchadnezzar had so much power. He had authority and dominion, and he had wealth, and yet he couldn't interpret his own dreams. He had the magicians that supported him throughout his rulership, but none of them could interpret his dream. This just showed that God had the power to change situations. This revelation that was given to him showed that God appoints his own people, his own ambassadors, to do work, the work that can be done in strange places. As he said that, he spoke to the magicians, and the magician couldn't reveal the revelation that he needed because there was a Most High God in that house, in that kingdom. who was the God of Daniel, an alien in that kingdom. Daniel was allowed to be captivated by King Nebuchadnezzar so he could fulfill God's purpose in that house, in that palace, in that kingdom. Daniel was delivered in the hands of Nebuchadnezzar to reveal God's glory. Just like us, God places us in certain situations, in certain positions to fulfill special announcements and special assignments also. No wonder most of the time we might be occupying certain positions, but we're facing afflictions. Our colleagues are creating problems and accusations because the light that we carry, the anointing, bothers them. But God has specific positions for us no matter where we are. It could be in medicine, in social work, in different institutions. God appoints his own ambassador there to fulfill his plans. Just like Daniel heard about the decree that was put out to execute the wise men of Babylon, but he went by faith and requested that they give him time to pray so he can get their interpretation that was requested, that was required about the mystery of King Nebuchadnezzar. Daniel used the faith and the knowledge that he had and the trust about God. God set Daniel apart from the other people so he could reveal his glory, so he could reveal his greatness. God revealed the revelation, the interpretation to Daniel to show that even though you are in captivity, God will use you. Even though you are lacking something in life, God will use you. So he wanted to show King Nebuchadnezzar that his grace, his mercy. King Nebuchadnezzar was an idolater, but God wanted to show him that there's a God above him, above his kingdom, above all the people that he consulted with, the magicians and all those witchcraft. Daniel was given gifts and reward because God wanted him to show that he existed no matter where he was and no matter what happened to him. Daniel also was elevated because God wanted to put him through tribulation so he could be able to show people that you can't give up in life. You can't give up on God just because you are in captivation. You're being captivated by against your will. So elevation through interpretation means that God can elevate you, even if you have a small position. To some people, it's a small position, but to you, it reveals great revelation and a great elevation by God. Daniel was brought to Babylon against his will, but God wanted him to be there because there was a special mission and a special vision, and so that he had to fill. Don't give up on your dreams and don't give up on your vision because God has given you a purpose, and that purpose has to be fulfilled before you die. Thank you so much for supporting Black Victors. Thank you. Bye.